Making it as a pro wrestler isn't easy. You need to have certain attributes, like the ability to get bashed in the face with a chair, withstand cage matches, body slams, etc., etc. But becoming a legend in the business requires you to have that little something extra, the ability to create a memorable character that transcends the ring and becomes something else entirely. Boiled down, pro wrestling is entertainment, an adult soap opera, and the best promos and confrontations are like an improv acting masterclass, or at least they used to be. Given how deeply intertwined wrestling is with performance, it's not a huge leap for some wrestlers to take a stab at acting once they leave the ring. But not all of those transitions to the big screen are met with favorable reviews or memorable movie moments. Let's have a look at some wrestlers who made it, and some who weren't so fortunate. The Rock. Okay, let's get the obvious one out of the way first. It was clear to most who saw The Rock's storied rise in popularity in the WWE that this was only the beginning. The way Johnson cut promos in his heyday showed his natural charisma was well suited to the big screen and ultimately Hollywood superstardom. That being said, it took a little while for Johnson to really break through, but his impressive appearance in the underrated Welcome to the Jungle, known as The Rundown in the US, served as the official announcement he'd arrived. His performances in the Fast and Furious franchise helped to revitalize the series, and since then he has gone on to become one of Hollywood's leading men, commanding $22 million base salary per movie. Triple H. Being an agent, you could be forgiven for thinking that with Triple H sharing the same stage as The Rock, that he too would have all the right stuff to make it on the big screen. Alas, after a forgettable performance as a vampire in the comically bad Blade Trinity, Trips cast his Hollywood aspirations aside until 2011, when he led two diabolical WWE studio films. The first, The Chaperone, saw Triple H paired with Modern Family's Ariel Winters in a catastrophically unfunny family-friendly comedy. The second, Inside Out, was a crime thriller with serviceable, albeit forgettable performances from Michael Rappaport and Bruce Dern, and again a wooden performance from Trips. The New York Times said, if Paul Levesque, the professional wrestler, better known as Triple H, hopes to follow the career path of, say, Dwayne Johnson, who is now a credible action-adventure leading man, he's going to need movies a lot better than Inside Out to do it. Ouch. Batista. A tried-and-true method for wrestlers breaking into acting is to play some sort of heavy, and unsurprisingly this is where Dave Batista got his start, playing a villain in one of Smallville's later seasons. He immediately made his presence felt, but his acting chops, well, they needed a bit of work, something he's freely admitted. It would seem though that his dedication paid off, resulting in several performances in high-profile movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spectre, and Blade Runner 2049 to name a few. It's fair to say that his inherent physicality is always part of those roles, but never the defining factor. Batista has come a long way since Smallville and his days in the WWE, carving himself a niche as one of the finest character actors WWE has produced. Edge. As a wrestler, Edge possessed one of the most complete skill sets of his generation. Great promos, great athleticism, and was as reliable as a 1990 Honda Civic. A career in acting seemed inevitable, but Copeland's acting portfolio serves as a striking example of the difficulties in translating in-ring prowess to the big screen. He landed the lead role in 2020's Money Plane, a low-budget thriller with a respectable supporting cast that included Kelsey Grammer, Denise Richards, and Thomas Jane. But boy howdy, this movie was so bad in fact that an aging Copeland returned to the ring and hasn't done anything on the big screen since. Kevin Nash. As a founding member of the NWO, a stable that facilitated WCW beating WWF in the television ratings for 84 straight weeks, Kevin Nash helped define World Championship Wrestling's most successful era. Nash's towering 7-foot frame was backed by his super cool swagger, and it was both of these attributes that would serve him well on the big screen. Nash's first on-screen role was behind a mask, serving as the Ooze-mutated Super Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, a movie I loved as a kid. But it was 2004's underrated The Punisher that gave Nash his first chance to show off his subtle comedy chops. As the Russian, Nash gave Frank Castle his biggest challenge of the film, nearly killing the iconic anti-hero in an extended fight scene that ends with him meeting his demise via a pot of boiling pasta and a flight of stairs. During the shooting of the fight scene, Jane legitimately stabbed Nash in the collarbone with a blunted butterfly knife after a stunt coordinator forgot to change the props. Nash did not break character and continued the scene and accepted cold beers from the crew as compensation. What a badass. And who could forget Nash's portrayal of Tarzan in the Magic Mike series of films, a performance that highlights Nash's enduring appeal as a comedic actor despite being unable to dance for toffee. Stone Cold Steve Austin. This one is a bit of a gray area. Despite an electric presence in the ring, and one of the most popular WWE superstars of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin has had a pretty spotty Hollywood career. He's featured in a few supporting roles, most notably alongside Sylvester Stallone in The Expendables, but more often appears in straight-to-DVD flicks. It's such a shame that the electricity he was able to generate in an arena on a nightly basis wasn't easily translatable to the big screen. Roddy Piper. It's not the first name that comes to mind when you think of success in Hollywood, but Roddy Piper's portrayal of John Nada in John Carpenter's They Live undoubtedly helped the movie achieve cult status. Rotten Tomatoes ranked the fight scene between Roddy Piper's character, Nada, and Keith David's character, Frank Armitage, 7th on their list of the 20 greatest fight scenes ever. A fight scene that was hilariously parodied on South Park. Hulk Hogan. Another WWF megastar and arguably one of the most well-known wrestlers ever, the Hulkster could never quite cut it in the world of acting. Hogan's most memorable acting role is still that of Thunderlips in Rocky III, where he beats the shit out of Stallone, then proceeds to deck members of the crowd, before finally getting chinned by Stallone. Suburban Commando was released when I was a kid, so will always have a special place in my heart, but wasn't exactly met with high praise. The Hulkster also has the distinction of being in a movie featuring actual animal cruelty. During a scene in Mr. Nanny, you can clearly see a dog been thrown into a river in the background. Jesse Ventura. Before Jesse Ventura became the governor of Minnesota, Ventura had a pretty successful movie career appearing on screen with the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, and Carl Weathers, to name a few. His unforgettable role in the 1987 action gorefest Predator as the minigun-wielding Blaine, future Minnesota governor, Jesse Ventura, delivered some of the most macho lines in movie history.
I ain't got time to bleed. This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
Let's not forget in The Running Man, this guy fought and killed Arnold Schwarzenegger on screen. Not many actors can say that. DDP. DDP is one of those rare types of people whose sheer will and hard work have driven his success. Granted, wrestlers in horror films aren't anything new, but Diamond Dallas Page's performance as Billy Ray Snapper in The Devil's Rejects is an especially memorable one. He plays a bounty hunter, partnered with Danny Trejo. Page really brought a maniacal vibe to the role, truly embellishing every part of this character's evil on screen. In a movie of straight-up badasses, Page managed to stand out by himself in his brief and memorable performance. Randy Orton. Well, what can be said about Randy Orton's movie career? Let's just leave it at that. Let me know if you think there are other wrestlers that deserve to be on these lists in the comments. This was Hogan's choice. See you next time.